Hi, I'm Mario DiPolo, also known as Teen Angel. My job is to watch over my best friend, Steve Beauchamp. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Marty.
See, Steve's the only human who can see or hear me. Hi, Jordan. Bye, Jordan. Now, as a guardian angel, I set my own rules and make my own hours. Basically, I'm my own boss. Actually, that's my boss.
Hey, welcome back, TGIF fans. It's another edition of I read your comments and decided to see what all the fuss was about. And this time we're taking a deep dive into ABC's Teen Angel. For those of you that may have missed it, we dropped a video about TGIF flops from the 90s and Teen Angel was on that list. And let me tell you, the comment section lit up faster than a Blockbuster store on a Friday night. People came rushing in to defend the show, calling it misunderstood, hilarious, or just plain fun. So I figured it was only fair that I give this one a second look. Why did a show created by two Simpsons legends and starring a kid who dies eating a 6-month-old hamburger crash and burn so fast? Well, in this video, we're going to go ahead and break down exactly what happened from the heavenly pitch to the hellish production. Before we get started, if you love deep dives into weird and wonderful 90s TV as much as we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because we're about to unpack one of the strangest experiments in TGIF history. A story of wild ideas, network chaos, and a sitcom so odd it just had to come from the afterlife. And with that, let's jump in.
So which one of you angels is Farrah?
The year TGIF lost its halo. To really understand the show Teen Angel, we gotta go back to the fall of '97. A time when the band Hanson's Bop ruled the airwaves, Men in Black ruled the theaters, and your family computer probably sounded like a dying robot every time you booted up AOL. ABC was in a weird spot. Their once invincible TGIF was shedding shine faster than a starter jacket after one wash. Family Matters and Step by Step had jumped ship to CBS, Boy Meets World was growing up, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch quickly became their only spellbinding success. So the network needed something new, something magical, something that screamed, "Hey kids, don't go outside on Fridays." Enter two comedy legends, Jean and Mike Reiss, the guys who had run The Simpsons during its golden age and created the cult hit The Critic. ABC basically told them, "Give us another Sabrina, but make it a boy this time." So Al and Mike said, "Sure, why not? How about a teen boy who dies in the first 5 minutes and comes back as his best friend's guardian angel?" And somehow, ABC said, "Sure. Welcome to Teen Angel." The pilot that killed its star. Literally. The first episode wastes absolutely no time. We meet Steve, played by Corbin Allred, your typical high school everyman. Kind of like Corey Matthews if he had more anxiety and a little bit less charm. And then there's Marty, his wild best friend, played by Mike Damus, who basically delivers every line like he just chugged 3 cans of Surge soda. The boys find an old burger under Steve's bed, and because this is a sitcom, Steve dares Marty to eat it. Marty does. He dies. Roll opening credits. Yep, this is a TGIF show that started with a teenage death by rotting hamburger. Within minutes, Marty is floating through the clouds, cracking jokes with Simpsons legend Marcia Wallace, who plays a celestial elevator operator, before being sent back down to Earth to help Steve navigate high school. Oh, and Marty reports to his boss in heaven, a giant disembodied head named Rod, played by Barney Miller's Ron Glass, who casually introduces himself as God's cousin. Yep, this show was weird. So once Marty returns, he becomes Steve's invisible guardian angel. Though guardian might be generous. He uses his power to do things like stop bullies, pull pranks himself, and occasionally turn into other people for the sake of a punchline. And somehow, this show just worked. Behind the scenes, from heaven to production hell. Now, you might assume that a show made by Simpsons writers would be a creative playground. However, behind the scenes, Teen Angel was less heavenly inspiration and more bureaucratic purgatory. Al Jean later described the experience as having 12 different network executives giving him notes on every line. Mike Reiss was more blunt. He said, "It was so compromised and overworked. I had 11 executives full-time telling me how to do my job." At one point, Jean and Reiss got calls from ABC in regards to one of the scenes they were working on. One executive said, "That scene's a quarter second too long." A different exec said, "That scene's a quarter second too short." It was the same exact scene. Reiss ignored them both, and both executives called him back to complain. This constant micromanaging drove Reiss to quit television altogether for several years. So while Teen Angel might have been about celestial patience, behind the camera, the vibe was Office Space meets The Twilight Zone. The cast: angels, mortals, and a Brady mom. Despite the chaos, the cast actually made it work. Corbin Allred and Mike Damus had genuine chemistry. They felt like real best friends who just happened to be dealing with, eternal damnation. Allred was 18 at the time and suddenly a teen heartthrob. He later recalled that he couldn't even go to the mall without being recognized, which in 1997 was a true mark of stardom. And then there was Maureen McCormick. Yup, Marcia Brady herself, in her first regular role in years, playing Steve's mom, Judy. After reportedly battling some personal struggles in the 80s, McCormick was thrilled to be back on a sitcom set. She was reportedly having a blast, until halfway through the season when she suddenly disappeared. Yup, around episode 12, Maureen McCormick was gone, replaced by Steve's long-absent dad and new character, Grandpa Beauchamp, played by Jerry Van Dyke from Coach. And how did the show explain this? Easily. They didn't. Marty literally broke the fourth wall and just told the audience, "Hey, Steve's mom's gone and his dad's back now. Just go with it." And honestly, that might have been the most self-aware joke the show ever pulled. With Grandpa now added, the humor skewed even wackier. Van Dyke's character was the only other person who could actually see Marty, so we got plenty of old man yelling at Angel bits that felt straight out of a cartoon. Guest stars, inside jokes, and peak 90s TV collisions. Here's a quick refresher for everyone's memory. Yes, Teen Angel did the bonkers TGIF time ball stunt. Salem the cat breaks time, every show jumps decades, our guy lands in the 70s, cue the disco. Fun, wild, moving on. Because the real treasure here was the guest star bench. First up, like we mentioned earlier, Marcia Wallace. Yup, Edna Crabapple herself greets Marty at Heaven's Elevator in the pilot episode. It's the perfect wink from creators Al Jean and Mike Reiss. A little whiff of Fox's Sunday night sneaking into ABC's Friday. Yeardley Smith pops in as a tightly wound teacher, so your brain then goes, "Wait, Lisa Simpson in a live-action high school hallway?" It's a delightful audio glitch for viewers to experience. Kind of like hearing the AOL dial-up tone come from your Nintendo. We also get Tim Curry, because of course we do, voicing a crooning frog in the episode titled Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. It's theatrical, it's pretty random, and it's committed in a way that only Tim Curry could deliver.
What's the problem here?
I'm lonely. I'm not a person, but I'm not quite a frog anymore. I'm the only one of me in the world.
Oh man, I never really thought of that. Is there anything I can do?
Sing with me.
No.
Frog went a-courting and he did ride 'em.
Oh yeah.
Frog went a-courting and he did ride 'em.
Oh yeah.
Frog went a-courting and he did ride.
Steve, I don't know why you want to sing Frog Went A-Courtin' in a British accent at 3 a.m., but cut it out!
But there are 5 more verses.
If your VHS shelf at home had Rocky Horror wedged between something like The Craft and Scream, this cameo was your kind of cinematic comfort food. And the show even had a live-action heartthrob alert. Zachary Ty Bryan, then famous as the eldest brother on ABC's Home Improvement, essentially plays himself. In the Thanksgiving-themed episode titled Feathers Day, Bryan appears as a teen heartthrob who comes to life from a magical wish. Just another wild addition to Teen Angel's already wild premise. The ratings fall from heaven. Despite the show's creativity, Teen Angel's ratings were less than divine. It debuted okay, hovering around 69th place in the Nielsen rankings. But it quickly fell as kids drifted to Nickelodeon or the WB. ABC gave it a partial episode backorder, signaling that they had some faith left. But by early 1998, the numbers were looking grim. On February 13th, 1998, yes, Friday the 13th, Teen Angel aired its final episode titled Look Ma, No Face. You can't make this sort of stuff up. There wasn't even a real finale, just a normal episode that suddenly became the end. A few completed episodes never aired in the US at all, and behind the scenes, the creators were already moving on. Al Jean later said that one ABC executive told him, if you weren't a Disney show, ABC would probably pick you up for another season, but there's just too much bad blood. So yeah, Teen Angel kind of died the way it lived. Misunderstood, overmanaged, and kind of hilarious. Life after the afterlife. After Teen Angel's cancellation, the cast went their separate ways. Corbin Allred decided Hollywood could wait. He left to serve a 2-year Latter-day Saints mission before returning to smaller roles in indie films. Mike Damas popped up in a few short-lived shows in the early 2000s, and to this day, Damas is remembered fondly by TGIF fans as the wildest, best friend character to ever sprout wings. Maureen McCormick continued her personal comeback and eventually became a reality TV favorite, while Ron Glass, the legendary Rod, aka God's cousin, went on to Firefly and Serenity, cementing himself as an icon for another generation of genre fans. As for Jean and Reiss, they went back to animation where they arguably belonged. Jean rejoined The Simpsons as showrunner, and Reiss wrote books and produced animated films, both occasionally referencing their Teen Angel scars in various interviews. The Legacy, TGIF's weird little ghost. So what's left of Teen Angel today? The show's never been released on DVD or any streaming platform. You can't find it on Disney+, Hulu, or anywhere else official. However, if you search deep enough, maybe just past a few old Pizza Hut commercials, you can find some grainy VHS rips of all 17 episodes floating around online. And if you hit play, be ready to get instantly transported back to a time where television didn't care how weird it got, as long as it wrapped up neatly before 2020 came on. Sure, Teen Angel was never a huge hit, but it represents something special. The tail end of that magical TGIF era when studios were still willing to throw a totally bonkers premise on primetime and hope that it would work. Think about it. This was the same decade that gave us Baby Talk, You Wish, and Small Wonder. By comparison, a guardian angel who dies eating a burger? Honestly, pretty brilliant. One online source called Teen Angel too bizarre to live but too obscure to earn a cult following. And that might just be true. But for those of us who grew up watching it sandwiched between Sabrina and Boy Meets World, it is an unforgettable oddity. Every TGIF lineup had its share of hits, flops, and forgotten experiments, but none of them flew quite as close to the sun, or heaven for that matter, as Teen Angel did. And sure, it did burn out fast, but maybe that's part of what makes it so endearing. It's a reminder of when TV was still a little naive, a little experimental, and far too obsessed with supernatural teenagers. When you look back at Teen Angel, it's hard not to smile. It's a show that genuinely tried to mix heart, humor, and heavenly hijinks. And while it may not have lasted, it did capture something oddly pure about the late 90s. And even if it never reached the pop culture immortality of Sabrina the Teenage Witch or Boy Meets World, it still deserves its place in TGIF history. Right up there with the other glorious flops that made Friday nights weird and so wonderful. So here's the Teen Angel, the sitcom that flew too close to the sun, exploded into glitter, and then left behind a faint smell of spoiled hamburger. There you have it, everybody. What was your favorite moment from Teen Angel? Did you remember Maureen McCormick disappearing after 11 episodes? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy these deep dives into short-lived 90s sitcoms, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video.